Today on The Best Years, the financial physician has the prescription to help cure your money problems. Discover the antidote to drug and alcohol abuse among seniors. Learn how architectural salvage can be your newest home treasure. And we'll make a trip through Ocean County's maritime history. It's all starting now on The Best Years. From the Ocean County College TV studio, here's Sandy Levine.
Hello and welcome to The Best Years. Today's show is jam-packed with news you can use. If an unhealthy economy is causing you pain, our first guest has the perfect prescription for personal financial wellness. Lou Scatigna is the president of AFM Investments in Howell and author of The Financial Physician. Welcome to The Best Years, Lou.
Thanks for having me, Sandy.
Now, you use an analogy of health and personal financial wellness. How does that help your clients understand finances?
Well, years ago I realized that if I made it simple and I used medical analogies for financial analogies, people got it. When I told them credit card debt is cancer to the financial body, they get a picture of how bad that is. So I decided to write this book about 3 years ago. Actually, I wanted to write a book for a long time. I procrastinated on it. But after the crisis hit, I decided to write a book that deals with the 20 most common ailments that Americans have financially. And I use symptoms, vital signs, and Lou's prescription. And we try to explain it in a very easy way using medical analogies.
And that seems to get people's attention?
It does, it does. It's had a very good response.
And you are the financial physician. Your book just came out. And you have, as you said, 20 mistakes people make. What would you say is the top mistake people make with their finances?
Well, they're financially illiterate. That's our biggest problem in this country. You know, it's amazing to me that we don't teach our kids about personal finance in high school. It should be a mandatory requirement. Actually, we're starting to see it come into the systems very, very slowly. But, you know, we teach our kids things that they'll never use in their life. Trigonometry, how often will they use that? But we don't teach them how credit cards work, how mortgages work, the proper way to buy a car.
So what about credit cards? You call that the cancer for people. How can you make it simple for people to understand so they won't get into credit card debt?
Well, I call credit cards enablers. It enables you to spend money you don't have. And look, you can't even get 1% interest in the bank, but these credit card companies will charge us 25%, 30% interest. It's nuts. I mean, you might as well just go to a loan shark and borrow money. The key is we shouldn't buy things we can't afford. You know, we have to go back to the values of our grandparents. Save up for something that you want and keep those credit cards in your pocket.
But in our society, we have a different attitude. We feel entitled.
Well, that's chapter 2 of the book. First chapter is financial literacy. Chapter 2 is feelings of material entitlement. We as Americans believe that we deserve to live rich, regardless of how much money we have. Now, over the last 30 years, prior to the financial crisis hitting, Americans lived the most prosperous, wonderful life of anybody in the history of the planet. The problem was it was an illusion. It was built on debt and spending. Debt and spending. We have to have that new car every 3 years. We have to buy that new computer. We need that big house. And we have to change those feelings of material entitlement. Otherwise, we're not going to survive.
And Lou, one of the most important things for financial success, of course, is taking advantage of time. When should people start planning for their retirement?
The day they get their first paycheck, actually. The earlier they start, the easier it is to achieve any financial goal, and that's because of the miracle of compounding. The more time you have, the more that money is going to grow, so you really should start your retirement planning, I would say, in your mid-20s. When you finally have a real job and you're able to squirrel away some money into a 401k or some kind of IRA or some kind of long-term retirement plan.
And one of the chapters in your book talks about lack of spousal teamwork. How big of a problem is it if the husband and wife aren't on the same page?
Huge. Huge problem. I say both you and your honey should manage the money, because lack of spousal teamwork, I think, is the #1 reason why families fail financially, because the non-managing spouse is going to sabotage the financial plan. Not on purpose, but they're not engaged. Sit down every month together and pay the bills together. Very few families do that. But when you're sitting down together, you look at the electric bill and say, honey, we got to get this down. We got to get this down $100. Both of you are going to turn the lights off. And you're going to look forward to when the bill comes next month to see if you achieved your goals. You have accountability to each other and you have ownership. So it's important to do that.
And many of your clients are senior citizens. You kind of specialize in helping seniors. What kind of problems are you seeing with your senior clients now in terms of the value of their housing going down and their retirement savings going down. What can you do to help them?
Well, the biggest problem seniors have is they can't get any return on their money. You know, it's amazing. Seniors who had nothing to do with this financial crisis, they weren't going out buying these expensive houses, right? Now, interest rates are almost zero, and they can't get any return on their CDs. So they're struggling income-wise. And at the same time, they're seeing inflation. They're seeing the cost of everything that they buy go up. Now, the government come out and say there's no inflation out there, but we know there's inflation out there, especially for seniors who are paying for medicines. They're paying real estate taxes. They're buying food, which is soaring. So seniors are struggling right now, and the big risk they have is to chase yield. If they take too much risk trying to get a return on their money, they may wind up losing their capital, so they have to be very, very cautious.
So you want to plan for your future. How about estate planning? That's also extremely important.
Oh, no question about it.
People don't do that often.
No, and young people should do it. You know, a lot of young people say, well, I don't have any assets. Why should I have a will? Well, who's going to take care of your kids? If you and your wife have a car accident and get killed, you know, the government's going to determine who takes care of your children. So you want to have a will, if for no other reason, to name a guardian for your children if you're young. And if you're older with assets, you do not want to die without a will. You're leaving your family a big, big mess.
So besides making sure you take advantage of time, another chapter in your book also deals with buying too much house and also too many fancy cars. How big of a problem are housing and cars in terms of Americans' financial health?
It is the problem. It's because Americans bought huge houses and new cars every 3 years that most families are struggling right now. Look, if your mortgage payment is $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 a month, and you have 2 new cars in your driveway where you're paying $400 a month for each car, that's a huge nut. And if one of the spouses loses their job, we're in big, big trouble. So houses and cars are the reasons why most Americans are struggling right now. Buy a smaller house, buy used cars, don't buy new cars. I say in the book, Detroit's not going to like me, but unless you're wealthy, you should never ever buy a brand new car.
So keep your entitlement down and your savings up, and that will help your financial health, right?
And go back to the financial values of our grandparents. That's the key to success in these tough times.
If you don't have the money, don't buy it.
That's very simple.
Very good advice. Lou Scatigna, thank you so much for being on The Best Years today.
Thanks for having me.
Now, for more information on Lou's book, log on to thefinancialphysician.com. Now with the latest news in Ocean County, here's Desiree Behringer.
It's tax time again, when all good taxpayers start to gather and hoard all the bits of paper we need to organize our tax return. Jane Maloney, Director of Ocean County Office of Senior Services, says this year's taxpayers get a few extra days to file.
Well, that's right. The deadline actually is April 18th this year, so individuals do get a few more days. But people really do like to start early and get their paperwork together and begin to prepare.
3 extra days which we can work on our taxes to get our 2010 returns to the IRS. Tons of paperwork to fill out, but don't get overwhelmed. Help is available to make sure you don't forget all the forms.
Well, Ocean County really has a very nice system of volunteer tax preparers through the AARP organization and through IRS volunteers. And these volunteer income sites are really located throughout the county.
Keep in mind, some residents will get some additional property tax relief.
Property tax reimbursement is a state of New Jersey program that offers property tax relief for certain individuals, senior citizens, and disabled who are disabled and receiving Social Security benefits.
Some other tips when filing: don't forget to take into account any life changes this year, such as a new mortgage, marriage, or divorce. All of these things will change your tax liability. Plus, remember all your medical expenses from the past year. Gather those receipts from the doctors.
For more information, you can call us at 1-800-668-4899, or you can visit our website, www.co.ocean.nj.us.
So the bottom line is income tax help is available. The Office of Senior Services has trained volunteers to help you with your federal and state income tax returns. Reporting for The Best Years, I'm Desiree Behringer.
After the break, learn the dangers that seniors face with drugs and alcohol. Stay tuned.